Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again to A Different Opinion. Today, we will be looking at Harry turning up in the UK for his court case against the Associated Press. And I mean, it's a few things, right? There's a few people like Elton John and all that who are also taking the Associated Press to court, and for reasons by saying like, phone hacking, planting microphones, listening to private conversations, things like that, which obviously the Associated Press deny. I almost hope that Harry goes down with this because he's not getting any favors. Like, no one is even backing him. No one wants him to win this court case because no one likes him. And then at the same time, who cares if the press go down as well? Because they do nasty things. And as we all know now, the mainstream media just paints their own picture with whatever story it is. They'll paint it in their own way. So I'm hoping everyone loses. That's just my hope in this, that everyone loses, no one gets money out of this, and no one gets good press out of it either. Now, there'll be a few things we'll go through today. We'll look through this one here today, how he actually criticized the royal family again in court this time. And the funny thing is, he doesn't even need to be at court at the moment. He's not needed there yet, but he's still turned up. So it's funny to see him, kind of walking in the front, like smiling and waving and all happy, when in reality, he doesn't even need to be there. They don't need you there. He just wants to be there for the press. He wants to be there for the pictures and blah, blah, blah. And that's just what sickens me about this guy. He constantly goes out and all he cares about is getting his pictures, getting the press shots, getting all that crap that people shouldn't care about. And then we also got an interview from Piers Morgan. Yet again, like I always say, think about Piers Morgan what you want. I just love the take he has on Harry and Meghan. He's just ripping them to shreds. And it's quite an interesting one to see. And they talk about a few things with a couple of people as well. So it's interesting to watch the video. We'll watch it after this. Now, before we get into it today, if you do want to help support the channel, please subscribe below the video. You'll be able to see future videos. Hit that notification bell. You'll see my videos first. Like the videos that you do like. It means a lot. And comment. Let me know what you think. Now, let's get into this on here. From Sky News, Prince Harry criticizes royal family in court. He made the allegation in a written statement submitted before his claim against the Associated newspaper in London over alleged phone tapping and other breaches of privacy. The Duke of Sussex and his fellow claimants' witness statements have been made public, providing an insight into what they all knew and when. The institution made it, so this is his words, right? The institution made it clear that we did not need to know anything about phone hacking. And it was made clear to me that the royal family did not sit in the witness box because that could open up a can of worms. Yet again, they're not helping me. I'm alone. I have no support from the royal family because, it might actually open up a can of worms for them. No one cares, dude. They don't want to be seen with you. The royal family is sick of you. You've not done anything for your family. I mean, who cares about the royal part, right? This is your family. You're dragging your family freaking through everything and expect everything from them, and you just keep throwing dirt in their face. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think they're going to turn up in, silver armor and, come and save the day? No. You're in this on yourself, and I hope you get your due. So a very limited pool of sympathy for Prince Harry in the UK, very limited pool of sympathy in Australia, very limited around the whole freaking world. No one cares about this rich, little spoiled crybaby anymore. Everyone's sick of him. Seriously. And the quicker this crap is over, the quicker he doesn't get invited to the coronation, the quicker he stops being anything. I mean, people in America are getting sick of him. The more and more polls I've seen, people just dislike the person. As you'll hear in here as well, the person actually says that Prince Andrew, the prince, which is very much disliked around the world as well, is actually more liked in America than Prince Harry. Now, let's listen to this.
Joining me now is the broadcaster Trisha Goddard and Professor of Politics and author Matt Goodwin. Okay, Trisha, you're the case for the defence. Off you go. Am I wrong about this point? I don't want to get into the minutiae of the individual cases. One of them involves the Mirror Group, and I'm sure he'll have a good old whack at me while he's doing it. I don't want to get into that because we can't for the legal reasons. Yeah. However, on the general point I'm making, which is, yeah, of course, as a member of the royal family, he's had his private life raked over the coals for decades. Of course, they all have. And in return, the others all accept that the deal is that you get the palaces, the servants, the fancy life, you're the biggest stars in the world, and the oppressor like an annoying buzzard on the backside of a bison.
That's just, I want to point that out. Exactly how he said it, right? Is yes, you don't have the privacy, you don't have all that stuff, but you have people who do things for you. You don't even need to lift a finger. You get the palaces, you get this rock star lifestyle. The whole world knows who you are. And there's even, you know, a lot of millions and millions upon millions of people around the world idolize you and want to be you. I mean, like we've been over, who doesn't, you know, when you're a younger kid, who doesn't want to be a prince? Who doesn't want to be a king? Who doesn't want to be a queen? Who doesn't want to be a princess? Hardly anyone doesn't want to be any of those.
Harry sees it in a much more malevolent way. But then, of course, comes the hypocrisy of the book, the Netflix series, everything else, where he seems to just be relentlessly invading his own privacy, that of his family, that of his friends, that of other people he's met on his life. How can you have your cake, your privacy cake, and eat it?
Well,
I love the way he puts it. How can you throw everything about your family, your friends, your life, everything out there for a book? But if the press say that same thing, you have a cry, you say that, you know, they're trying to be racist to my wife, they're invading my privacy, I'm not allowed to blah, 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 blah. But you're the one being the reporter now. This is where that South Park episode yet again destroyed them by saying, you know, we want our privacy. And then the guy questions him and says, but didn't you just pretty much release a book about everything about the royal family and your life? Yes. So that pretty much makes you exactly what they were doing. But you did it yourself.
in a difficult position because I could say to a much lesser degree, and I'm nothing like Harry as far as profile is concerned, but I would be the same because, for instance, when I was in hospital in 2008, I think you know one of the reasons I moved to the States was I didn't have any privacy there. I didn't have privacy when I was in hospital. I had journalists trying to pretend to deliver flowers. My kids had to go through security and what have you. Now, I'd written a book about my life and I talked about my life in minutiae, and yet there was a line I didn't think it was fair to cross. Now, we all have our own lines and our own boundaries, and they might not make sense to other people. But I think, as you're right in that. If we feel we're controlling the narrative, if I wanted to talk about my hospital experience, which I did to a certain amount of degree, that's fine. If somebody wants to be underhand and pretend to be delivering flowers and get surreptitious pictures of me when I'm going through chemotherapy, that is something else. So I think this whole court case, I think, is the difference between Harry having, and you're right there, control, and alleged underhand methods of people getting another narrative. I think.
Yet again, I think she's missing the point here, right? She's comparing her situation where she was in hospital, getting chemotherapy, and, you know, press getting in there, which is very sad to hear that, because that's the last thing you want to deal with is press when you're going through chemotherapy. And obviously, you know, a few people in my family going through it as well. That's the last thing they would want to do. You don't have the power to go through that. But to compare her situation to Harry's is so totally different. It's just so totally different. I mean, first of all, he's younger when he's going through this. He has the support of way more people, you know, when he's going through all of this, where he's saying, they're invading my privacy, blah, 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 blah. He has guards, he has security, he has everything to help him, where she didn't have the amount of support as he does. And not to mention, he didn't go through chemotherapy like she did. So, unfortunately, like, I'd just throw out her answer in the defense for him, because it's not at all relatable, in my opinion, anyway.
I think we all have a public face, we all have a private face.
OK. Matthew Goodwin, your response to this. Does Harry have any right to privacy now? Can he go and have court battles over his private life?
Look, I even still think he has a right to privacy. I think everyone has a right to privacy, you know, to a certain extent. Like she said as well, is everyone has that line. And I think, obviously, their line is, if you're in a public space, people are allowed to video you, take pictures of you, etc., because technically you work for the people. But if you're in your own private land, I believe you deserve your privacy.
Given what he's now done to his private life.
Well, I think as a couple, they've made a conscious decision to put themselves out there. And I think there's something else that Harry can't control, which is what do people think about him. And if you look at the polls on Harry and Meghan, and I spend a lot of my time looking at the polls, well, I've never seen a brand collapse this hard, this quickly. Since the end of last year, both Harry and Meghan are down 40 points. We've just had a poll in America which shows he's less popular now than Prince Andrew in America.
Right.
So as a brand,
And
I
just
think...
anecdotally, I've been bouncing this latest thing off people. They're like, let me get this straight. He's flown all the way from LA for a part of the process he doesn't need to be at, just to be in the papers, going through the front entrance, and he's laughing.
Yeah.
What kind of thing is he thinking he...
Yeah, now after that, they just keep blabbering on about things that probably don't really matter too much. So, like this guy has said, their brand has dropped dramatically. And like he said as well, they put himself out there. Remember the Netflix show that they made where they try to call it a docuseries, right? So that's yet again putting your personal life out there. Then Harry coming out with a memoir, tell all, putting everything out there again. And now trying to sue because people are coming into your privacy, even though you're releasing everything yourself. Confidential documents have been deployed by Prince Harry and his side into defense and blah, 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 blah. But we'll see where that all leads. We'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping that his side of it gets thrown out and, you know, everyone loses in this. Like I said before, let me know what you think. Do you want either side to win here? What do you want to happen? The only thing I hope for is that this court case reveals even more of how bad of a person Harry is, how bad of a relationship they have, him and Meghan, and that they keep tanking, that more people even dislike him. Yet again, we want our privacy, we want to be left alone, even though we are releasing our whole life stories, all of our secrets, we're letting it out there, TV, books, and then coming out and saying, no, we want to be left alone. And yet again, we want to come to Coronation. No, we want it our way, otherwise we're not coming. Don't come, don't go. Hope you liked the video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment, let me know what you think, like I said. And please subscribe. It means a lot. You'll be able to see my videos in the future as well. Thank you for watching.